Hi, I'm Morgan Crosbie from Finch Chevrolet in London, Ontario, Canada, and you're watching Cars and Crosbie. Year to year. Today's a good day, guys. I am very, very happy to announce that we have a Z06 allotment. Not a lot of people got a Z06, and I'm kind of reshooting an intro that I did yesterday when this Red Mist Metallic Corvette came in. And for obvious reasons, that intro has gone into the garbage can or deleted because I got a Z06. We're going to be talking about Z06 today. There's a lot of news already coming about, and I'm going to be here to help you guys out in setting some things straight. A lot of the major dealers in the States, Rick Conti, Mike Furman, Les Stansted, they struck out. I don't understand right now what's going on, but we're going to talk about it today. On the episode, we're going to talk about production updates. I've got some exciting news coming in the truck world in terms of allotment. And then in the Camaro world, this guy's got a Yanko on order now. Not me myself, but I have one on order. And the Cars and Crosbie project is in Chicago, meaning that it's almost here. So that's not a clue about what I have coming in. I don't know what is. I can't give you any more clues. No one still has got it yet. I don't know how you guys haven't figured this out. But we got a great one today on today's episode coming to you right now. I couldn't be happier. It's a beautiful day. I've got a Corvette that we're going to be talking about on the project. We got the Z06 allotment. We're going to be talking about production updates. Just as a side note, I want to get into the Z06 stuff, but there's also other things that we're working on and that we're doing. So I want to make sure that we cover it all. And I'm on cloud 9 right now with the Z06 allotment. 15 came to Canada for the Z06 in this production allotment, and 196 came to the US. We got one of the 15 to Canada, so I'm very proud of that. Feather is in my hat. From what I've been hearing already online, it doesn't seem that any of the major dealerships in the States that sell Corvettes got any, except for Ciocca, which I believe they got in the 30s, but we're still out to try to figure out if it's so because they were, doing the option where you could purchase a VIN number for $5,000 American, or if those were ones that were awarded this week. So Rick Conti, Mike Furman, Les Stansted, McMulkin, all those dealerships, they struck out. They got no Z06s, and I don't understand for the life of me how that is, because those guys were all fair shooters. They weren't charging over list. I don't know if maybe they're getting a separate piece of allotment that's separate from everybody else because of their performance that they're doing, and maybe they were just giving us, to the regulars allotment today, and then maybe they're getting some tomorrow, or they're getting some backdoor deal. Who knows? This is all kind of coming live, and I'm going to be filming this today, which is Thursday the 18th, and uploading it as soon as possible. I don't get nearly this allotment that any of the guys that I just mentioned do. We do a decent amount. In Canada, we do a good number. I think I would be on the top 100 list for Corvette sales if you took US and combined, but I would be probably in the high 80s, low 90s. Uh-oh, we got a train coming. I'm gonna pause this, wait for this train to go by, and then shoot the rest of that rant when I'm done, that train. All right, guys, sorry about that. It's a big one. Lost my train of thought. Let's start from where we were talking about. Z06s have been announced. 15 to Canada, 196 came to the US. I got one of the 15. I got also a non-Z06. Another thing, we might be a little bit different than the US. So one other thing that I wanted to note about this is that how they awarded this allotment was not how we expected it to be. I was under the impression, and so was Mike Furman, who I reached out to about this, that we would be receiving a separate allocation piece than just the Stingrays. And what I mean by that is in the previous generations, if you were to get a Stingray, that was allotted to you in a category, but then they also had a separate category for Grand Sports for Z06s and ZR1s. So it was literally a separate option, in terms of your allocation, and saying you got a Equinox, you got this, you got that. It would say Stingray Grand Sport on the previous generation, and then we were assuming that they were going to do the same with the Z06. And that was one of the reasons why almost every dealership that I know of has made a separate waiting list for the Z06s. This doesn't seem to be the case. Let's let this fuel truck go by. This doesn't seem to be the case. When we got our allotment this morning, it had that we had 2 Corvettes that we were getting. And then when you looked at the constraints, which is something that we've been talking to you guys a lot, or I've been talking to you guys a lot about, it then showed that we had an allocation for a Z06. And then there was other things that we'll get into after the fact as well. So a little bit interesting with the formatting of how they're doing it, because it kind of leads me to believe that, you know, it's going to be almost like an allocation piece, like a trim level that's all on the same allotment. So again, just to confirm that I'm saying this probably because I'm very excited right now. I'm year to year. We got 2 Corvettes, and of that, on the constraints list that show you what kind of engines you can get, is it mag ride, is it not, it shows you what they got for the country, and then if you got one or not. So we got 15 Z06s that were on a sub option level, and beside that it said that we were awarded 1. So I don't know if this is just because they're starting a new program and this is the way it's going to be, but it leads me to believe that you could technically, if you wanted to, get 2 Corvettes or 5 Corvettes, get the allotment for a Z06, but then defer it and then choose to get something else if you wanted to, if you're that kind of madman to say, you know what, don't really think I need that new engine or anything like that, I'm going to go with just getting a Stingray. You could technically do that. And to me, that seems really wild, because it's going to mean that the allotment that they have got for certain parts and stuff like that is going to be all over the map. Want to get some more clarification before we go further on that. And I also want to get some more clarification about the things that I was reading on the forums and in the articles in the 3 hours between when I started researching and hearing about this stuff to when I filmed this episode around 11 a.m. So major dealerships struck out. I'm hearing that some dealerships in the States got, 6 pieces of allotment that were charging over MSRP. Again, if I was already charging over MSRP, I'm not going to trust you as a dealer to begin with. So we're taking your word for it that you were awarded 6 vehicles, Mr. Texas dealership, and I think your reputation comes with you, and I'll believe it when I see it. I just don't see how GM would be awarding you these Corvettes that you're selling for over 50 grand over MSRP over a guy like Rick Conti or Mike Furman, who have been honest class acts from the beginning and have been there through the good, the bad, and the ugly. So there's still a lot of things up in the air. It is exciting to hear that they are announcing them. It is confirmed that it is going to be a slow rollout. Another rumor is that they're going to be taking a 3-week hiatus between this allotment group that they just awarded and then having them be built on the 12th, or the production week of the 12th of September. And then from there, they're going to do another rollout. So there seems to be, from what I've been hearing that's not confirmed yet, that there's a 3-week gap between this production allotment that was awarded on August the 18th and when they're going to be awarding more in 3 weeks. So, on production, I've got a Corvette here, and as you can see, I've got a wide array of trucks and stuff. I'm one of your best options for seeing what's going on with General Motors because of where I am geographically. I'm 2 hours away from Detroit. The rail networks and everything make it so that I'm very close to almost every plant except for some Buick plants that are in South Korea and China. So logistically, I'm kind of in the middle ground for all the plants to be able to get stuff at a good average. And I also sell all 4 brands. And on top of that, feather in my hat, we're killing it in terms of sales. So we get a lot of allotment. So you're going to see a better data group with us because of how much stuff we get awarded to us. Out of all these vehicles that arrived here, only one of them was not sold. And I ended up selling it the day that arrived, and that was this elevation here in titanium rush metallic. So on a side note for colors and stuff, guys, this is a metallic gray and this is black, and beside each other, I don't even know why the heck they made this color, because it's almost exactly, this is as dark as it gets for a gray. So again, this is just your regular GBA black, and this is a $1,000 Canadian option color called titanium rush metallic. I'm not knocking on it, but if you're gonna make a color, make it a little bit different than what it's already in black, because from this distance right here, both of those cars look identical in terms of being a black elevation. So that is one thing to note. I am getting a lot of Yukons and stuff like that right now. Escalades are starting to arrive. But the big thing that I would point out about my production and stuff is that when you start seeing a bunch of stuff arriving at my dealership, that means that back a month or two ago, we were doing really well with getting allotment. And so it's kind of a little weird to think that just because the lot is full doesn't mean that you're gonna get your order placed. I guess that's what I'm trying to explain is, you know, these things were awarded to me a couple months ago and finally are arriving now. That doesn't mean that we're still in a windfall at this exact moment. And it kind of does that, where we're getting a lull in production, but then we're getting a ton of vehicles on ground, and then vice versa, and it continues. So every 2 to 3 months, we're seeing this, you know, roller coaster of allotment. And I would have to say that right now, it's starting to ramp up in allotment again, which is great, but we won't be seeing these pieces for probably 2 to 3 months, depending on what the vehicle is. So just a good brief summary of some of the heavy hitters that we got. We got 2 Corvettes, which we definitely talked about. We got a Camaro 1LE, which I'm very proud to say that we are going to be turning into a Yanko for a customer of ours that does a lot of cool vehicles. So we have a Yanko that'll be coming around eventually once it's been built in the New Jersey Specialty Vehicle Engineering's upfitter place. We got 1 Escalade, it was a Sport, 1 Traverse, 2 Trailblazers, 2 HD crew cabs, 2 light duties, 1 Yukon, 2 Yukon XLs, Colorados, and about 5 or 6 Encore GXs. So that was an interesting one to get as well. So a decent spread for 1 week to get that kind of stuff. In terms of constraints, that's I think the biggest thing that we're going to talk about. There's some constraints that are on the Corvette. The biggest one would be the Z06, and I think that's what everyone's talking about right now. So we might as well go all in on that. Again, this is a one-man crew, so I'm going to take off the sticky note and start working on the Z06s. So mag ride for Corvettes in general right now is still a bit of a constraint. You can get a non-Z51 with mag ride and it can be 40% of the allotment. So 40% of all the vehicles that are being built that can be a Stingray can have a non-Z51 mag ride. 60% can be mag ride with the Z51, and 40% can be a Z51 without mag ride as well. So that makes sense. So basically they want you to do mag ride. 60% of them will be that, and 40% of the vehicles will not have mag ride. For the Z06, there was 10% allotted to Canada. So that gives you an idea of how many in total we got for Canada. If there's 10% of 15, or sorry, if we got 15 Z06s and that's 10% of our total allotment, that means that we got around 150 Corvettes to Canada for this week, which is a decent amount. But also take into consideration that for the last 3 weeks, we didn't get any Corvettes. So when you spread that over a 3-week time period, 150 Corvettes is only 50 a week to Canada, which is not where we need to be in order to hit the target numbers that we used to get. So again, I'm a little disappointed about that, but beggars can't be choosers, and I don't like to bite the hand that feeds. Now, another thing, carbon fiber, the carbon fiber painted high wing is only 3% of the allotment, so that is a very low amount for the Z07. The high wing spoiler, 0%, that can be painted in carbon flash. The engine cover was at 0% as well. And edge red calipers is at 0% for Corvettes as well, which is an interesting one. And the 70th anniversary special edition package is at 0% as well. So none of them can be built like that, regardless if it's a Z06 or not. And that's important to note. For Camaros, I went over that. I got a 1LE, so we're going to do a 1SS 1LE on a Camaro, which is really great. Trucks and Tahoes, full-size SUVs. Again, 15% for the high country, so same as last week. The diesel engine option is still at 10%, and Premier is at 23%, and Z51 or Z71 and is at 16%, as well as the RST. So nothing's changed on the Suburban front. We did not get any Suburbans or Tahoes this week, which is interesting. For the trucks, the engines are starting to come back in. We got 2 6.2 liters, and we also got a Carbon Pro edition for the half-ton pickup trucks, which was a nice surprise to see on our allotment piece. What else is important to note? Trail Bosses at 13%, so starting to creep up a bit in terms of an allocation piece. 11% can be 6.2 liter V8s, and this is starting to get even larger as well. Diesel engines are now 19% of total truck orders which is a good healthy amount. They'll almost get 1/5 or 1/5 of all trucks to be able to be a diesel in the 3-liter inline option. I've always pointed that out as I think it's a really good value, especially if you're going to own it for a long period of time. For HD trucks, not really doing well for Denali's or AT4s this week, or high countries. It looks like the fully loaded models are not doing well at all. So if you're looking at trying to get a truck this week, or if you're a business and you're trying to get your order in and everyone's telling you it's a long wait, this is when you strike. So if this is a prime example of why I do this thing. Right now, you can't get fully loaded HD trucks. And there's definitely, if there's at mine, it's likely the case at all, there's definitely going to be a long list of lines of people waiting for a Denali Black Diamond Edition or a High Country Deluxe or something like that. And so when you go to your dealership and you say, hey, can I get a truck? I'm just looking for something for my landscaping business, something, they're going to go, yeah, get to the back of the line. It'll be 6 to 8 months because they have this huge list. But when you can't build them, no guy that's waiting for a Denali Black Diamond Edition is going to all of a sudden take a work truck with vinyl floors or something like that. So I've got 2, for example, this week, and I'm going to be going probably to the back of my list to be able to get some businesses their vehicles this week, because if we got a pizza, it's going in the oven regardless of what kind of toppings are on it. So if I'm getting a cheese pizza, guess what? Your landscaping business is going to be eaten this week. And that is why I think one of the main reasons that I want to do this segment is because that kind of opportunity could make or break your business. And if I can help you out with that, I love it. I don't care if you're from my area. I don't care if you're from this country. I'm going to help you guys out. And that's the kind of stuff that's going to get you your car, your business, which is probably your livelihood if it's an HD truck on the road and burning gas or diesel. So that is the production updates. As I was saying, we're starting to see some of the constraints improve a bit, but nothing like massive. It's not, we're not just breaking records here, but it's a decent amount. And the stuff that I'm having coming in is stuff that I've had for the last few weeks that's been slowly making its way in. I'm just gonna give you some foresight, guys. We have a huge amount of allotment that's coming in the new few weeks of vehicles that have already been built. So you're gonna be seeing a lot of videos, and you're probably not going to be able to get in touch with me as much. You're going to probably have to reach out to Sean, because I'm going to have all these deliveries coming in, and I'm going to needing to be making sure I'm taking care of them. So without further ado, let's go into what Corvette we have here. This is a 2LT Z51 hardtop convertible. Actually, this is not a Z51. This is not my client, so that's why I don't know the build as well. It's in red mist with a low profile spoiler. We've got black as the accents on it. And we've got jet black for the interior. In terms of interior options, we have the GT2 seats, nice 70th anniversary badge that's in there. We've got the regular interior, not the stealth interior for accents. We've got the regular exhaust tips that are on here. So there is some chrome accents that are going to be on this specific model. For the wheels, I'm not sure what the customer's doing. I'm hoping that they're probably doing something aftermarket instead of the base wheels. But if they're not, then that's their decision. And then what else we got? We got front lift on here, and it looks like we also may have magnetic ride control. I don't know unless I fire it up, and I don't want to do that on camera with messing around with that. So I'm going to shoot this video. I'm going to get it out to you guys as soon as possible. We got a Z06. We are one of the first 200 people in North America that have a Z06 that's coming in. I can't wait to be able to film content on that. It seems like there is some influencers that already have a Z06. Amelia Hartford has one, I think, for example, and there's still an embargo on uploading content related to that, so that'll be interesting. I am going down to Carlisle next week, so if you guys are interested in reaching out, me grabbing some stuff and loading it up in the car for me to bring down to you guys, I can do that as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm on cloud 9, so give me a break if this episode is long-winded and very fast-paced. But I'm very excited because we are going to be part of Corvette history and getting one of the first production runs. So we're keeping with our tradition, which was on the C8, where we got one of the first Corvettes that landed. And I'm hoping that, knock on wood, that's the case as well for our Z06. You guys want to guess what color we're going to build it in? Because this is actually going to be not my Z06. I did not get a Z06 at the beginning of the list. I'm way at the back. I think I'm 30th. Or something like that. I have no idea what number I am. I have my name down for the the hybrid version. And then if I get a Z06, that'd be great, but my wife probably won't be too happy about that. Too much information. I'm gonna wrap up this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more, and happy motoring.